bad word. But when I read Proverbs 21 and 20, I said, no, that don't sound as bad as wisdom. But 21 and 20 says, the wise have wealth and luxury, but fools spend whatever they get. Now, a budget don't seem like it can do that much, but a budget is simply a plan for your money. It's being intentional about where you put your money. It won't limit your freedom. It actually gives you freedom. A budget will help you develop better financial habits. It can relieve you of stress, worrying every month, help you reach financial goals, but it could change the quality of your life. And we don't look at it like that because you're spending every minute you're trying to catch up this, pay that. I remember, I got ahead of myself. When you budget, set aside some money to give and to save. Some of us think that you don't have enough money to give or save. But maybe it's because you haven't made it a priority. You gotta make it you gotta intentionally save, intentionally give. And you just don't just like give like we go out and buy coffee and eat out. Giving and saving is not the same way. You have to do it intentionally. If we don't give and save first, we don't have it to give because we done everything else. A budget gives you a clear picture of where your money is ending up every single month. The first time I did a budget and I seen how much money I spent on eating out and buying coffee, I was shocked. Because until you see it in writing, it's like, I spend that much money? Now, if you spend that much money a week and you multiply how much I spend a month, all the way to a year, that's a lot of money that could go somewhere else. But you can make coffee at home. We're not going into all that. Anyway, you need a budget. I don't know about y'all, but I like to shop. But when you don't understand the importance of good stewardship, shopping could be a trap that could lead some of us into money troubles. So when you manage money, you will always have, and he will always give you more. A budget will allow you to consistently give and save by being intentional where your money goes. If you're new to budgeting, start small, but start somewhere. Because once you start, you will see where the money is going and where you can increase and decrease. No excuses. I can't save. I can't budget. But you can budget because the alternative is you'll continue to spend without a plan. But if you wanted something and you can't get credit, you'll figure out how to save to get it. So no excuses for why you can't budget. You can. The next time you're wondering about what to do with your cash, turn to the Word of God, not to the masses. The Bible is full of wisdom about handling money. A budget can help you get out of debt. Debt, D-E-B-T. Doing everything but tithing. Romans 13:8 says, owe nothing to anyone except for your obligation to love one another. We'll never be done paying love one to another. But when we talk about financial debt, the world says debt can be a tool to buy things you couldn't otherwise afford. But God says there's no such thing as good debt. Debt forces us to delay or avoid expenses that are life events like retirement. We're living in a new world now. If you don't set up your own retirement, the company's not doing it for you. If you run out of money, in this society, you're just on your own. We don't have nobody who's coming along and said, oh, they don't have money, we'll take care of them. You know see how many homeless people we have out there now? That's because people didn't plan. And There's nobody to pick up the the missing pieces, or when you run out of money, or because you didn't plan. They don't care that you didn't plan. You just out. And if those of us who not retired or need to work, do you want to work till you're 100? Because that's what's gonna happen if you don't plan, if you don't save, if you don't budget. COVID, we haven't seen the homelessness that we're going to see when COVID is over. And the truth is, what can we do now with this pandemic? When you fail to plan, you are planning to fail. We're not living in a world where they're going to take care of us. They're not going to do it. We have to do it ourselves. Proverbs 22:7 says the rich will rule over the poor, and the borrower is slave to the lender. Now, debt rises faster than your income does. Look at some of the ginormous limits they put on credit cards that they give you. They have astronomical interest rates, and card companies encourage you to buy on your card. They want you to get it up to the limit, but they're only asking you to pay the very small amount, whatever the monthly amount is. But when you spend it up to the limit, it takes an act of Congress for you to be able to pay that card off once you get it up there. It's set up to keep you enslaved to the card company, because you can never pay it off. You paying 15, 16, 17, 25% interest on them cards. You need to be paying attention to that. You're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't. I remember having so many credit cards that when I got paid, all I was doing, paying all my bills and all my credit cards. Every payday, that's what I was doing, because I had that many credit cards. But I didn't understand how much money I was really giving away. Debt actually makes us spend more than we actually make. Credit is designed for us to never be able to pay it off. And if you ever pay it off, be mindful of charging it back up, because the interest rates are higher than your monthly payback. So you pay a note, but the interest is tacked back on it. So you'll keep paying and they'll keep going up, but it's never going down. A good example is if you have a $2,000 balance and the credit card company say pay 2% of this, and you have an 18% interest rate on it. It'll take you 30 years paying the amount that they asked you to pay monthly to pay off this $2,000, but it'll cost you $8,000 in interest. So when it's all said and done, you've paid $10,000 for $2,000 of credit, when you could have just saved the $2,000 and saved yourself $8,000 in the bank. But when you look at mortgages and cars, do you know how much money you're giving away? If you just sat down and looked at it, it's like, it's scary. It's like, oh no, I done got so cheap. I want interest free. So if I could pay for something interest free for a year, same as cash, okay, you're not getting no interest. But we need to look at how much money we actually giving. Budgets help you do that. How much are you giving away? According to Galatians 5:23, self-control is actually a fruit of the Spirit. And when we don't exercise self-control with our finances, it reveals a lack of self-control when we find ourselves in debt or overextended for not having the ability to just say no. Truthfully, if you miss 2 paychecks now, could you continue to live without interruption? Do you have an emergency fund? And I'm not talking about your mama and your daddy. Will you be able to meet your obligations? Because we're in a pandemic. Everybody is in an emergency right now. Not just you, everybody. So last week, I got a flat tire. My car does not have a spare because I got run flat tires. They're a lie. Because if the run flats mean you can drive on it for 50 miles to get to safety. But if you drive on it, it's not repairable. You have to replace it. And the tires are expensive. But I didn't plan on buying no tire last week, but I didn't really have no choice. But because I've been practicing the principles of saving and giving and doing what God would have me do with money, I was able to put my hands on what I needed to get a tire without stressing. I was first mad because I had to pay for the tire in the first place, and then I had to be thankful that I had it to pay. So I was like, okay, don't get mad. But society makes us think we need credit to function. But if you don't want to be a slave to the lender, I would monitor credit usage closely and not use the limits that they give you. You don't have to use it because they give it to you. In order to get off the debt roller coaster, you have to start saving and letting them start paying you for your money. It's no set amount to start. Whatever amount you got, you can start with. So as I close, there's benefits to giving, budgeting, and to being debt-free. When you're not overwhelmed with debt and you're living by the principles of our Father, as it relates to finances, you have a more peaceful quality of life. As kingdom women, we should handle our finances responsibly. Giving, we should give from a place of love and gratitude for what he's already done, because it all belongs to him. None of it belongs to us. And budgeting is a plan for your money. It won't limit your freedom. It will actually give you freedom. Debt, doing everything but tithing. Every time you fail to plan, you are planning to fail.